All right, I'm so glad he's back today because we've been spending the past few weeks talking about ways to save money while sending your child to college. We talked about free grant money, where you can find it. Now we're talking about free scholarship money and where you can find some of these scholarships. Ron Carruthers from Ducerus College Solutions is here. Thanks so much for coming back. We sure do appreciate it. Let's just dive right into this because we have a lot of information that we want to share this morning. Free scholarships. First of all, you mentioned one of the things really to focus on is the SAT. Why?
Well, what a lot of parents don't realize is they think the SAT or the ACT is for getting into college.
That's what I thought, sure.
And what they don't realize is a lot of colleges give scholarships based on how well you do on those SATs. And so, number one, a lot of private schools in particular will give anywhere from a $10,000 to $15,000 a year scholarship for doing 200 points better than their average on SAT. So obviously this isn't every school, but it's a lot of schools that do that. And if a kid does 100 points better than average, then it tends to be an $8,000 to $10,000 grant. That's free money that doesn't get paid back. So that SAT can be worth $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for some families.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I had no idea about that. That's huge. Here's the other thing. I didn't do very well in the SAT. A lot of people don't, but you said there are so many ways to practice and to get good at this thing before you actually go take the official test, right?
Absolutely. So the first thing that you have to realize is every 100 points is going to take about 20 hours of study time, focused study time. So people don't realize that it's like a sport or learning to dance or learning to drive a car. It's a learnable thing that anybody can practice and study and do better on. Because we hear a lot of parents say, oh, well, my kid just doesn't do good, and that's not true. You can study for this and do better. Okay,
there you go. He said it right here. Okay, let's also talk about the PSAT. That counts.
Correct. What a lot of families think is, oh, well, PSAT stands for Practice SAT. So I'll see how my kid does, and then I'll train him for it. What they don't realize is when you take it in your junior year, it's actually the PSAT NIM-SQUAD, which stands for National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. And so they're using that to determine a grant that they give thousands of these away. From the National Merit Organization and colleges themselves for National Merit Scholarship give grants away. So don't wait until your kid's a senior to study for it. Do it while they're a sophomore and a junior.
Okay, there you go. Okay, here's something else that you might find interesting. If you work for a company, maybe any size of company, there could be a scholarship that your company could offer for your child. You just need to ask about it, right?
Yeah, San Diego's great for having really good scholarships for the children of employees. And a lot of parents never think to ask because it's buried in page 86 of the employee handbook and they look at the first 2 pages and don't get past it. But it's definitely worth checking if you work for any size employer here to see if they might have a scholarship for your kids.
Also online. I always hear about so many scholarships that are available online, but apparently it takes a full-time job to be able to get into the internet and really start researching for these. Is that what you're finding as well?
Not quite, but what we tell families is spend time researching more than actually applying. And so when you go to apply online, and a really good free site is fastweb.com, which is
fastweb.com.
Fastweb.com is totally free. They've got a lot of ads there. You have to kind of wade through those. But they're a really good catalog of scholarships. And what we tell families to look for is things that weed out at least some portion of the rest of the population. So if you're left-handed, look for the scholarships for left-handed people. If you play the bagpipes, look for people who play bagpipes. They have a left-handed bagpipe scholarship. So look for
really?
that. Yeah, and I think like 5 people qualified for that. So
Mark would have actually qualified for something.
I'll high-five you later, Mark.
Okay, but that kind of brings up a good point. There are some scholarships out there that could be for the average guy. Maybe you don't have fantastic grades. You didn't score super well in the SAT, you haven't found the cure for cancer while you're in high school, there's still something out there for you, right?
Absolutely. Spend the time researching, and again, look for weeding as much as you possibly can out so you can weed other people out for that scholarship before you apply. And I'll give you one other really good tip, which is the bursar's office at the college often has great miscellaneous scholarships. So that's different than the financial aid office.
Now, what office is this?
The bursar's office.
Okay. I don't even know if I've heard about this office.
B-U-R-S-A-R, bursar's office.
Bursar's office.
And you go in, and that's where you get, like, say, a Korean dry cleaner who was the first in his family to go to college or send his kids to college, later might make a scholarship for $300 for anybody who asks, and a lot of time nobody asks, so they'll give it to a kid who's not Korean or something like that. That's an example of one we've
Okay,
seen.
so go to the bursar's office. You always have great ideas and great tips, and we're
We
hoping
try.
that families are learning something here and can actually save some money, because boy, is it expensive to send your kid to college. Ron Carruthers with Ducerus College Solutions. If anybody wants to get a hold of Ron or you have a question for Ron, put it on our Facebook page and we'll make sure it gets to Ron.
We'll answer it.
All right, let's get over to CS.